What's going on, family? It's your boy C-Mo the C Mitchell checking in for you guys with another episode of I Object, man. I got my main man, Hightower, over here. And we are
I
gonna
object.
we gonna kind of give our thoughts about a lot of the NFL draft and where we see the state of the league at. But first and foremost, I'm gonna let Hightower get into a little bit of who he thinks his top 10 receivers are right now. And you guys might be shocked by some of the names. I got some questions that I want to ask him as well too. So Hightower, man, let me get your top 10 receivers in the league as they stand right now today, pre-draft in the offseason.
Okay, now, everybody, you can object. That's the beauty in the name. You don't have to agree with me. Many of the people that I'm going to list, you may not know why, and if I need to express why they are placed where they are, of course, Simo's not going to object, is not going to agree either with all of my picks.
Definitely not.
And that's the beauty in it. Okay, so we're going to go from 10 to 1. At 10, we have Cooper Kupp. Right? He was hurt most of the season. I still got to give him credit. At 47 catches, he had 593 yards and showed up in the biggest games, the playoff games and everything else. At number 8, we have Terry McLaurin with Washington. And for his age, being 30 years old, he did work for them, even with the quarterback being hurt most of the season, also out for the season. Number 9, we have Parker Washington with Jacksonville. Now, what's funny is that he only had 65 catches, but that was for 954 yards. And remember, it was a kind of a surprise that Jacksonville even made the playoffs. He was a big reason for that. At number 7, we have Jalen Waddle with Miami with 64 catches, 910 yards, 6 touchdowns. At number 6, George Pickens with Dallas. A lot of people are going to definitely have a problem with this, but too bad. 93 catches, 1,429 yards, 9 TDs. Okay? Now, this is the beauty in this one. The big question was, where would I place Drake London on this list, especially since he missed 5 games? Well, he comes in at number 5. He's number 5 with 68 catches, 919 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And I'm also looking at his importance with quarterback being hurt, with them being so run heavy. With him coming in, he was a perfect complement to make things happen and gave them a nice spark. At number 4, we have your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had 117 catches for 1,401 yards, 11 TDs. Okay, he also caused 14 missed tackles on his catches. Number 3, Jamar Chase, 125 receptions, 1,412 in yards. Number 2, Jackson Smith-Njigba, of course, with the Super Bowl champs. 119 catches for 1,992 yards, and he had 10 100-yard receiving games. And number 1, my man Puka Nacua, 153 catches. Jeez, that brother was working hard this season. 2,047 yards, and those catches were, he had 32 catches that were over 20 yards plus. So that's my 10. Who objects?
I do object a little bit on a few of those guys.
That's all right.
I like where you have Drake at. I do feel as though Drake London, honestly, believe it or not, I agree that he is a little bit better than George Pickens. I'm curious why you don't have CeeDee Lamb on that list. But I'll also say that I think that Drake London is better than Puka Nacua. I'll link the video in the comments, but I was talking to my pops during the NFL playoff game about why I think that Drake London is better than Puka Nacua. For one, Drake doesn't have the rehab issues that Puka has. He's a little bit more disciplined of a player. I think he has his head in the game a little bit more. But Drake London has never had the consistent wide receiver threat opposite side of him that Puka Nacua has. I think that Puka,
Correct.
to my father's point, yeah, he is definitely capitalized a lot off of having Cooper Kupp and having Devontae Adams out there.
Well, shoot, having having Matt Stafford as your quarterback.
Yeah.
That alone.
Yeah.
That alone to do it.
Yeah. So I think that Jigba is a little bit better than him. There are a couple of names on this list, like Parker Washington, for example. I was surprised that you think he's better than Brian Thomas Jr. Let's talk about that a little bit. Where do you see? What made you go with Parker Washington? Because before that, Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, I think the year before last, he's like a 1,200-yard receiver. I know he did take a little bit of dive in some of his stats, a little bit. But why do you think that Parker Washington is better than him?
Well, it wasn't the fact that he's necessarily a better player overall. It's for last season, okay? With all the adversity that Washington went through, Parker stayed consistent. He never seemed like he doubted himself. His route stayed crisp. His catches were very bold. And if you look at 65 catches for almost 1,000 yards, he was very, very productive with all the changes. So I had to give him credit where credit's due. There's going to be other players that even in the back of my mind may be better than him. But remember, we're just talking about his effect. We're talking about last season and the different adversities that he's dealt with. And I had to give him a little props because most people probably wouldn't.
Right.
A couple of guys I have are guys that people wouldn't even say anything about, but they're also people that you may not pay attention to because they are household names, but they're not worthy of a lot of conversation within your household. You may know who they are, but it's not like you're having an argument about them in the house because there's other names you want to talk about more readily.
Yeah, I also think that it's, again, surprising that maybe surprising, but not as surprising, of course, based on last season. Justin Jefferson doesn't make your list. His numbers definitely weren't up there. So I think that's a little bit obvious why you didn't probably put him on the list. I definitely think the talent is there, but just didn't have that performance.
Well, Justin's a beast. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
No. If we, like I said, if we weren't going to say straight up, there's no way Justin is in the top 5.
Absolutely.
Okay, but once again, just going with all the other factors, I had to go with the list I went with. Sorry, guys. That's just how I roll sometimes.
And I kind of agree with you based on that. I mean, based on what happened last year in the stats. Jamar Chase, though, for a couple of years, we have been saying that he has been the best receiver in the league. I feel as though I dropped him down a little bit last year as well, too, personally, for some of the on the field antics that he's had. We had him spitting at a player.
Supposedly. I don't it wasn't clear, but I understand.
It looked like he spit at him, but
I think he was just talking heavy. What
are your thoughts on that with Jamar Chase? Why you still don't? Is it just based on numbers last year? Or do you think that there are some things that Puka or Jackson Smith or Jigba, do better?
Well,
than
remember
him?
remember this. They deal with a lot of adversity also. And Jamar is a type of receiver. He, this is mentality-wise. Remember, mentality-wise. He reminds me a lot of old school Sterling Sharp. Okay. I'm going to tell you what I mean. He's nicely built. He's strong, but he's the type of receiver that will go up to the cornerback and say, I'm doing the same route this time that I did last time. I bet you can't stop me.
Right.
And he'll deliver. So I'm still going to, even with his antics, he's still that reliable of a receiver that I had to put him where I put him, and he still did come up with 1,400 yards.
That's true.
Which is still ridiculous. I mean, I don't care what team you're on. If you catch for over 1,300 yards at any time, that's kind of ridiculous. Right. Especially if there's other players on your team that help feed the offense. It's not like you're the only option.
Right. So we'll pivot a little bit because we can be talking about these receivers all day. Where do you feel? What do you think about this NFL draft? What moves do you think are going to happen? What kind of run do you think we're going to see on players early on? What are your projections for some of this NFL draft? What kind of surprises do you think we're going to have happen and all of that?
Okay, well, the one thing is that the draft is very heavy in defensive ends, D tackles, offensive tackles, safeties, free safeties. Okay, they're pretty heavy. So any teams that are weak in those areas, they're going to have more than enough opportunities to try to find somebody that could be added to the roster that could help build the roster, or that could be a potential starter. I don't see as many people coming out of college this year that will become immediate starters after the first few picks that are in the draft. And even with that, we still the verdict is still going to kind of be out, because with the players jumping from team to team in the NIL, sometimes the hoopla is so high that you don't really get a chance to watch the player anymore. You start thinking about how much money they're making, et cetera, prior to being a pro player. You know they're good, but we will sometimes rely on what other people say as opposed to using our own eyes and our own minds to pick out who's who. So I think any team that needs those positions, they're going to have a field day. Now, of course, you're going to get a couple quarterbacks. I mean, my man from Indiana, he's going to be the first guy off the board no matter what. That would be dumb not to pick that guy.
Right.
Okay. I mean, that's a no-brainer, especially with the season he had. He's had one of the most iconic seasons of any quarterback ever. So you can't pass him up. But other than that, I don't see really any team willing and dealing for anybody in a crazy way, because there's more than enough players to fill most of the team's needs. Even the running back from Notre Dame. As you can tell, or as you may see, the league has started to value running backs a little bit more than they have in the last 8 years. At one time, they were what you wanted, then they became what you hated. Now they're being what you desire, a good running back. So Love, which is his last name, he is definitely going to be picked high, but just like Ashton Genty was, it's according to what team you end up on. A lot of these guys end up on teams that are terrible, that have to build their lines up. So you end up getting abused and used your first couple seasons, and then we find out what you're made of, because in your third season they may build around you, but now you may be too beat up. I don't see any real willing and dealing going on, though. Anything out of the ordinary at this point.
Yeah, I think I was seeing something where they were saying that they think Love might drop even out of the top 4 or 5 picks, because the first few picks don't necessarily need running backs at this point in time. But do you feel as though, to piggyback on that, do you feel as though Ashton Genty lived up to the type to where they picked him in the draft in terms of what he did last year? Because in my opinion,
to tell you the truth,
yeah,
a lot of people don't think he did.
Right.
I think he did a great job with what he had. When you watch him on national, whenever they had a national game, you were waiting for something big to happen. You were waiting for that big breakaway run. You were waiting for them to run those guys over and make that spin move, juke the guy, and go to the house. And you didn't really see it. But there's a reason why. Vegas has no line. So to leave that dude out there like that, that's a tall order, because what you're asking him to be is a superhero. You're asking him to be the Black Panther with Wakanda's technology, but none of Wakanda's help. Okay? Right. So I think that he was fine. I just think that we thought too much of it. Now, was he worth the pick? Obviously. They picked him. They spent the money. They just didn't have the line to go with it. So whatever their plan was in Vegas, I hope they work it, because if he were to leave and go somewhere that has a decent line, I think that he'd prosper. He'd have a good time. Imagine if he went like to the Chiefs.
Oof.
I'm just saying, you get a quality back like that to the Chiefs, which was weak at running back position and consistency, even with an average line. Imagine what he would do with the Chiefs, how much better their season would have been. Not saying they would not have won a Super Bowl with him. That would not have happened. But imagine how much better they would have looked if they had him.
I mean, the Chiefs, ironically enough, they are picking at number 9. That kid might fall.
He might fall.
Yeah.
And they need it. Listen, the Chiefs want a running back bad, bro. They want to start a running back that they can rely on bad. You never know. And if he went there, if Love went there, woo, there'll be a lot of excitement in Kansas City.
That would be nasty, because I think that I think Mahomes is coming into that phase especially with Kelsey dropping off in terms of some of that athleticism later in his career. I think that they want to be able to rely a little bit more on their run game. They have some pretty solid receivers right now. We'll see.
But remember for KC, they don't need Kelsey to be what he was.
Correct.
They just need him to be good enough that he's the option that people have to pay attention to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if they could get a running back that was healthy, not knocking Pacheco and anybody else that was there, they just weren't healthy enough early enough to get those extra wins they needed. You get a young dude in there who's hyped up because this team went to the Super Bowl and it's full of Super Bowl rings, and look at Mahomes and this and that. That's an all, and he gets amped up and he plays his heart out. That's all they need, because now the talent is spread so evenly, you don't know who to stick, and it makes you actually go man to man all the time. And if you go man to man against them all the time, they're going to win.
Yeah, that should be interesting. It will be interesting. I do like you said, I do think they need a running back. Do you think that? I want to ask you about the Saints a little bit. I know that they're not going to be picking up love, especially with what they've done with signing Etienne. I thought it was kind of interesting that they signed Etienne. Also,
I have something to say about Etienne. So let me know when I can say what I say.
Go ahead. Let me know what you think about Etienne.
Okay.
And also, what do you think about Tyler Suck, as I like to call him? I think I've seen some Saints fans say that they think he's better than Michael Penix, and I'm not seeing it. I think that
I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
I haven't. Listen, he's not better than Michael Penix. Let me just say that from the rip. We're not going to get in a long discussion about why. He's not better than Michael Penix. If Michael Penix is healthy, if Michael Penix has a decent line, there's no way he's better than him. Conversation over in regards to that.
Right.
Okay. Etienne. I've never liked that dude. I've never liked his style of run.
Yeah.
He can be on the pod, he can be on the cast. The way he remember, I'm a sports specialist. And I look at the way you move. Even though he's one of the highest paid running backs, even though he's heralded as a top back in the league, I don't really care for him. His running style is kind of bland. I think that he's reliable because he's uneventful. And a lot of times when he does what he does, it's almost like he lulls you to sleep. You forgot that he, could turn a corner a little bit, and you forgot that he isn't a pro, so he should be able to bring a few tackles. But his running style is very flat. He doesn't have many moves. He's not really running over. He's not dominating a game unless the receivers are dominating a game. He's not a takeover back.
I was just thinking that he is not one of those running backs that can take over the game. He's reliable enough.
But they gave him so much money. They've given him too much money to not let him get the ball.
Exactly. I feel like for the 260 attempts he had last year, he only gave you 1,100 yards, and he's not dynamic enough in the passing game either.
He's average. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, all you people watching and listening, remember this. They're still pro players.
Right.
They're still better than everybody that you probably know that played ball, other than one or two people that you may have grown up with.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying, let me not take that for granted for you. And I can talk some mess because I was decent, but I don't like him.
I agree.
He wouldn't have been on my team. I wouldn't have spent the money. Matter of fact, he would have been a free agent coming out of college. He wouldn't have been a draft pick. That's me.
I'm not mad. I am not mad at that at all, because if you look at his 2023 season, his 2024 season, he was under 4 yards a carry, man. We're looking at a guy that was like 3.8, 3.7 yards per carry.
But even if listen, you have some backs that they may be averaging 3.8, but there's something about when they do it that boy, you better stop this dude right now, because if you don't, it's on. With Etienne, it's almost like he got 100 yards.
Yeah.
He's not. You're not afraid of him.
Yeah. When I look at him compared to his brother, I don't feel like he's just blowing him out of the water.
Not at all.
I feel like his brother is just as good as him, maybe
I think his brother has more zeal and a little bit more shiftiness.
Absolutely.
And he got some big old feet too. I think that brother, he wears like a size 16. That brother's feet look like submarine sandwiches, man.
I feel like his brother runs harder than him too. Believe it or not, it's so interesting.
But isn't the brother a little bit heavier?
He might be.
I think his brother might be a little bit heavier, but I like his brother more than him. But even his brother, I was still questionable. I'm just saying.
I agree.
I didn't, the brother didn't impress me overly either.
Right, but you're not. But they didn't overdraft him, and he's not being overpaid either.
No.
So
that's the difference. That's the big difference.
Yeah, I just don't see Etienne. I feel like the Saints made a bad move, and I'm not saying it's just because I'm a Falcons fan. I feel I give
the Saints made a great move. The Saints made a great move. From your perspective.
Right. Hey, listen, give them some more. I feel like the Saints are over here messing it up, and I feel as though Tampa Bay. I thought it was really interesting. I've seen some Tampa Bay fans, really happy that they brought Zach Robinson as their offensive coordinator, and I'm like, at what point did y'all look at the Falcons last year and say, you know what, we need that guy calling plays for us, because his players ain't doing it in Atlanta. I feel as though he had a lot of talent here in Atlanta, and
didn't use it.
Did not utilize it the right way.
But not for nothing. If you watch how the Saints have moved since Drew Brees left.
Yes.
So this is a minute now. Since Drew Brees left, they haven't been the same.
They have not been the same.
They have not. The hype around them, the fan base seems to have diminished some. The love loss. You even have some Falcons fans that like Drew Brees, even though they hated the Saints.
Yeah.
Now, don't nobody like the Saints. Matter of fact, you forget they're playing in the league if you didn't live down that way. Because I'm going to tell you what, me being on the East Coast, I have not ran home to watch anybody play the Saints yet since Drew Brees left.
I agree. They had one. I think they've had one winning season since Drew Brees left. I mean, they had a 9-8 season a couple years ago. That was with Derek Carr, if I'm not mistaken.
Listen, anytime you're trying to hype up, was it Taysom Hill? Was that his name, Taysom?
Taysom Hill.
Or Tyson?
Taysom Hill.
Anytime they try to hype him up, now I'm not knocking his skill set. Great athlete.
Yeah, because he was a Falcons killer.
That's the main person you're talking about.
Yes.
Out of all those players down in New Orleans, we got a problem.
I agree. I totally agree, man. I think the Saints are going to still be at the bottom of the barrel in the NFC South.
I don't care if they had a top pick.
Yeah.
They could get a top pick in the draft, and it's not going to change this year.
Agreed.
They're 3 years out. They're 3 years out from really being able to talk any mess to anybody, I believe. The way they played the last few seasons, they're 3 years away from even being able to talk any mess about playing themselves.
Agreed. Yeah, it looks bad. I think I can't wait till the season starts to see to see how dumpster juice and booty meat that team is gonna be. Now I could wind up eating these words, but I think the Saints.
You never know.
You never know.
The probability is very low.
Dumpster juice booty meat, man. And again, Tyler Shuck. I don't think that Tyler Shuck is a franchise quarterback. I think that the verdict is still out on that. I think they still have to find out what he is. I mean, we're talking about a guy with 10 touchdowns and 6 interceptions last year. It's not good.
All I got to say is this. It's going to be hard to develop your name in New Orleans with somebody like Drew Brees was there as long as he was there. So it's almost, if you don't find the next big thing and bring him to New Orleans, there's always going to be controversy behind the quarterback regardless.
Right.
You could be bringing Mendoza to New Orleans and people are going to still give you a hard time.
That's true. And speaking of Mendoza, do you think that he winds up starting any games this year? Do you think that they're going to it largely looks like they're going to start Kirk Cousins out there with the Raiders, and for all intents and purposes, it does look as though the Raiders are going to still draft Mendoza. How do you think that situation is going to pan out? Do you think we'll see Mendoza before this year is over?
Okay. If the Raiders do like the Raiders do, if their ownership does what they normally do, Mendoza's going to be playing this year. And I'm going to tell you the main reason why. He's already made the money. He's already made them so much money with the potential of being the first pick by them.
Right.
Because a fan will rally around and start making choices in which their money is being spent towards their home team with the anticipation of getting somebody like Mendoza. If the fans spend the money on tickets, paraphernalia, et cetera, ownership cannot deny their excitement and not put that person on the field. So even if he doesn't come on right away, he's going to be on that field much earlier than anybody thinks. He may not start the season, but he's going to be there. He's playing this year unless he gets hurt. He's playing because there's too much money to lose. And remember, this is a business.
Yeah, and I don't think that Kirk quite has it in the bag or skill wise. I just
Kirk's
think
going to get hurt. Kirk's going to make his money this time. He's making his money this time, bro.
Yeah.
He's going to make his money this time because if they don't upgrade that line, Kirk going to be running around there. You're going to think that he Fran Tarkenton.
Hey, Kirk ain't got that in him anymore. He definitely ain't got that type of athleticism to do that.
Look, nope.
Right.
Nope.
Oh, God, that's going to be ugly. It was kind of shocking. It's funny. A lot of Falcons fans were wanting Kubiak and were upset that we didn't get Kubiak. But if we would have got Kubiak, we probably would have seen Kirk Cousins right back here in Atlanta.
Oh, you would have.
Yeah.
Because they're buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have. And the other reason why you would have seen him back was really more because Kubiak could rely on Cousins' knowledge base. You know what I'm saying? So it would have made his job easier, and he could have took more time to try to develop other players, other quarterbacks, because he knows that Cousins is like a player coach type of guy.
Right.
So it would have made his job easier. But thank God, it fell the way it fell, and we'll see what happens.
Now, you talked about some of the players that you think this draft is going to be heavy on positions. I noticed you didn't mention wide receiver that much, but they've been talking about how it's a really wide receiver heavy draft, but just lacking some of that top end talent. What do you think about this wide receiver class in general?
I think that you have a lot of potential. It's just the fact that you don't have a lot of guys that you have a great deal of footage to go after. A lot of the guys you have one season to go after. That's what NIL does. You'll get a guy from a small school that comes to a big school. He plays 1 year, he does work, but then he leaves. You're not getting the guys that you can see 3 years straight of footage, 3 years straight of stats, and you know what you're getting definitively. Right now, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You're hoping to roll that dice and get the guy that you believe you have, but you don't have enough footage to go off of it long term.
I can see that.
And it's not that you don't have. It's not that it's not deep in receivers. It's just that it's deeper in the other positions.
Right.
That I said earlier. It's deeper in those positions. So there's enough to go around. It's just like I said, NIL is a wonderful thing if you're in college. NIL is terrible if you want to get drafted.
Expand on that. Why do you think it's a bad thing if you want to get drafted?
Okay. I mean, first of all, you're probably making more money in college than you will your first. The average person that's a top player is making more in college than he does his first year in the league because they have caps. Okay. Now, think about that from a young mindset. You're thinking, why'd I go pro? I could have stayed in college another year and made double this amount of money. That's one. Right. Two is I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time in to really prove that I'm worth what I said. And there's a lot of hoopla. So I can say that I'm the baddest thing ever off of one season. That's great. But that's one season. NFL wants you at least for 4 years to be on top of your game. And one season to me is not enough to prove that you're going to be worthy to be getting the money I'm spending on you for the next 4 or 5 years. Now, there are a few that transcend that idea. But on average, you're taking a big risk picking some of these guys up and giving them this money, especially that already have money. Or how about this? What if I was a top guy in college, made all this money, and come to NFL, and then I'm not doing that well?
No, right.
Am I mentally strong enough to buckle down and get my skills together, or do I give up?
Right.
It's going to be a hard mixture.
Right, and even to your point, I think that the way that this NIL thing is set up, it does afford some of these guys an opportunity, and we've seen it with a few defensive players, where guys have left smaller schools and then gone to bigger schools and performed at that level as well too. So if you are able to do that, if you do that, I think it makes it better for you in the pros. But that's not something that
Well, according to the position, it's according to the position. Remember this. Skill positions are skill positions no matter where you go.
Right.
If you can be a great corner on any level, you can be a great receiver on any level, you can be a great running back on any level, you can also be a pretty doggone good quarterback. It's the grunt work positions that don't transfer. And I'll tell you what I mean. If I were to go to Bubba's Community College and I'm 6'1", 300 pounds, and I'm a D tackle, that is not the same as being at USC or being at Georgia, 6'1", 300 pounds as D tackle. That's not the same player. They're not built the same. Their athleticism is totally different. Their movement is totally different, and that's just the way it goes. So it's according to what you get.
Well,
it's according to what you
exactly. And that's why I think if you do that as a D tackle or even as a linebacker, and you step up and you perform at that higher level, if you do go somewhere else,
it shows a lot.
Yeah, I think it shows a lot, and that is good. That really makes people take a looking at you and like, oh man, this is a guy we got to look out for. We getting close to time, but before we get out of here, I do have a couple other questions for you. I want to ask you. Do you think I've heard a few draft experts say things like after the top 15 players or so in the NFL draft for the first round, that there's a tremendous drop-off in ways that it wasn't in previous years. Do you agree with that? Do you think that we'll see a lot of guys maybe trading down, or a lot of teams trading down for that reason? Do you? What are your thoughts about that?
I think that you have a larger pool of good players in this draft than you do of great players.
Right.
Okay. So after the first 15 picks, where you're going to see definitively great skill sets, great ability, the next drop off, there's nobody bad, but everybody's just good. So I mean, that's just how it is. In past drafts, you had more great players that ended up where they shouldn't have been for whatever the reason, and you could catch them late. This year, you only have a few great ones, and the rest are actually really good players. Quality, good players that will make up your roster. They may never be starters, but there can always be journeymen. They can be on the team. They'll do their jobs, and they're going to have great spurts. But superstars, not as many as what we've seen in the past, I don't think. And that's not a bad thing.
So in my mind, at first I was thinking that it's an early start on the second round, but it sounds like from your perspective that even a lot of those second round pick guys would maybe even be third rounders in other years draft. Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that per round, I think that you're going to get players that are in the last round that are just as good as guys that are in the third round. Because everybody's going to be. I think they're equally talented from the middle of the second on down. I think everybody's pretty good. They're good players. I just don't know how many are going to be superstars. Like I said.
Right. This definitely looks like one of those drafts for a lot of depth. Specifically. As it stands with the NFL right now, which teams are you the most excited about, or you think are the most on the fringe, are going to be the biggest surprises? I know this is still early. It's going to depend on what happens in the draft, and there's still free agents.
That's a good question.
Agency, yeah, but
well, I'm going to tell you the truth. And it's not because of our prior work together or, point game or the bird bath. My biggest come up are the Falcons. Wow. I really believe that. I really do. Period. I mean, there's nothing else for me to say. I really believe that the Falcons are going to make the biggest um, increase in all levels, all stats, all positioning, whether it's the division that they're in, whether it's sacks, whether it's touchdowns, whether it's reception. I think that they're the team to look out for if you want to go with a definitive change. I think the Falcons really going to be the team that really goes, yeah, you forgot. Now, behind them, Jacksonville still has more to do. They may still surprise us a little bit more than they did, because they did surprise us last season.
Mhm.
And I believe that the Rams still have more to burn, so they might be in the same position. Now, the superstar teams, I'm going to say I'm scared of New England, and I'm scared of the Broncos. Bo Nix and Drake May showed their butts last year. So you can't sleep on them either. So that's pretty much it. But the biggest change, I think the Falcons, for the positive.
Right on, right on. I tend to agree with that as well. I think the Falcons got some really sneaky good talent at some bargain prices and really built that team in a more blue collar, tough meat and potatoes.
They have nothing to lose.
Yeah, yeah, and we were already on the
They're,
cusp.
they're really dangerous, man. They're dangerous. They're dangerous. I'm telling you, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you had the Giants insignia behind your head, on your hat, the Jets. I'm scared of the Falcons. I'm scared of them, man.
Yeah, because I just feel as though we were so close already. As it stood, yeah, it's a talented team. It was just a little bit of game management issues, even with the quarterback not being quite as good as they would have wanted. That team really showed some grit and moxie. I mean, we beat the Bills, should have beat the Patriots. We're real close to it. Definitely shouldn't have lost that Jets game. We should have beat the Colts. Again, bad management in some of that, but we came out and smacked the Rams in the mouth, and honestly, we could have and should have beaten the Seahawks potentially as well too. That was a really good game, or at least that game should have been a lot closer than it was. We had some things get away from us in the second half. We gave up that long special teams play, but I think that.
But still, for 95% of their games, they were in every game.
Yeah.
95%.
And I saw an interesting stat too, where it said that the Falcons lost they were 2-5 or something like that in games that they were favored by Vegas, or 2-2
Probably.
7, something like that. The stat basically said that games that we were expected to win, we came out flat in those games. And that's something I don't expect it to continue with this regime. I think that Stefanski is going to have these guys.
They're going to be ready.
Yeah, I think they're going to be ready, and I think that this GM and Matt Ryan, they're really big on pushing competition. And so I like a lot of the depth that we got, because if one guy doesn't do it, they're going to bring up the next guy. So that's why I think that we're probably going to be able to get a receiver as well too.
We will.
I want to ask you real quick 2 more questions before we get out of here, and then anything else that you want to freestyle on, you can. I want to ask you about A.J. Brown. Do you think that we're going to see A.J. Brown get traded? I know the Patriots have been one of the front runners of where they think that he could go to. He has that relationship with Mike Vrabel, as well as the Diana Rossini situation. That's been
that's the problem. See, that just for your first question, that whole thing with Vrabel, the chick, and that's going to mess that whole deal up with, I believe, with the Patriots. I think that there's going to be too many whispers of wrongdoing, too many fines, and it's really not worth it with as well as Vrabel's already doing with the team he has.
Right.
Okay, so it's not like it's a win-win. They can win without AJ. He would just be a bonus if they had him.
Right.
Okay. For AJ, a lot of what you guys are hearing, since I'm closer to Philly than you guys are, I think a lot of it's more hype than it is, and hoopla than it is truth. I know that he wants the ball more, but he also wants a chance to win.
Right.
So anywhere that he would go, it has to be a team that may win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And right now, even with the way Philly played last year, they still have a better chance of winning than a lot of teams. So that narrows down how many teams AJ would probably want to go to.
Do
He
you
may just stay.
do you think he cares more about winning than his stats? Because from the outside looking in, it seems as though he's complaining more about not getting the ball, and it's not as much
Yeah.
about.
Well, all receivers, if they're top, they want the ball. I don't care who you are. You're not on the team as a receiver, not wanting to make catches.
Right.
Okay. By the same token, to go down in history and greatness, there's something about that hand getting heavy, that changes the way people look at you. So I think that he would like to win one more time because he has a skill set that he can go anywhere and get yards. But if I can get paid, potentially win a ring, and still catch a decent amount of passes, that's the best trifecta that you can have.
I mean, I tend to agree in general, and I think that that's something that you would hear somebody like Michael Irvin say, but it seems as though, and this is no knock on.
Where's he going to go?
Well,
Where's he going to go?
I don't know. I don't know exactly, but I do feel, and I'm no knock on the guy that I'm about to mention because I think he's still one of the top best receivers ever of all time. He's still in my top 5. But I think that he has more of a T.O. appeal to him where he I think T.O. wanted to win, but I think T.O. cared about that legacy and a lot, and I think he cares more about his legacy than even a T.O. did, and more about his stats than a T.O. did specifically.
But the thing is this, if you want to be technical, think about this real quick. And I respect T.O. His game. He's a great receiver.
Yeah.
One of his all-time best.
You know he's going to play hard.
Yeah. The thing is this. His name in your brain, when you think about T.O., what do you think about? Right off the rip.
I mean, just me, man. I think of a hard, tough.
Hard worker, fine.
Yeah, hard, tough, run after catch
productive.
Receiver. Yeah.
Productive, fine.
I also think about the distractions though a little bit too.
So now with me saying that, and I'm not knocking any of those things, but what I mean is, I think AJ Brown wants to try to separate himself from being caught into that criteria, and one way to do that is to win another ring. I'm just saying.
Okay. Because
because I can go anywhere. He can go to the Saints, and get numbers.
Right.
Right, but you wouldn't care one bit about him. That's my man. He worked hard. That joker, he tough. He one of the best ever. He ain't playing for the Saints.
Yeah, I mean,
he like whatever. I'm just saying. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying.
No, I agree. I agree.
You gotta try to find the best grouping. Nowadays with social media, with easy access to players, you're trying to find ways to separate yourself from the norm. And the only way to really do it is either you compile a couple 2,000-yard receiving seasons, you find your way into a 50 touchdown season, or you keep getting your hand heavy.
I agree.
And I'm not knocking any of it. Not knocking any of it.
Real quick before we get out of here, why is that? What is the big problem with the Rossini situation and her having been romantically involved with Mike Vrabel?
It's almost like insider trading. You're privy to conversation that could lead you to make different decisions or allotments, which would give you an advantage that another team wouldn't have. That's all. So, he could be saying to her, honey, we were just talking in general. AJ Brown's looking pretty good. I'm going to be talking to him next week. Who? Even if you don't mean to say something extra to AJ Brown, you're going to because it's on your brain. Right. Your significant other, it's something that they're talking about, so it's going to be something that's on your brain. And you may ask a few questions or make a few innuendos and send them in that direction inadvertently just because it's on your brain that they wouldn't normally have happened. And that's the problem with it. So you're looking at a certain type of tampering, which teams have gotten away with in the past, but many teams have gotten fined and not gotten away with it. So it's just a rough way to balance things. The easiest way to make it go away is if he had nothing to do with them this season. Doesn't mean that he couldn't go to them next season. But this coming up season, it wouldn't be a good move. Because that's going to be what the stigma would be.
Do you think Vrabel should be disciplined or as well? We know Rossini has stepped down. Do you think that there should be some type of discipline for Mike Vrabel, or
if they can prove it? If they can prove it, see, she stepped down because your name is all you have when it deals with her industry. Okay, and once you're known for something like that, it's hard to shake it. And she's a female also, which is a shame, but they give them a harder time anyway than they do the men. Okay. For the coach, they would have to have some definitive, a phone call, a text, something, a message, something that would show that he said this about AJ Brown, and then she delivered that message for them to really find him. Because you can't find him up for hearsay without him being able to win that case and get the money back and the time back and everything else.
That's true too. That's true too. All right, cool, man. Well, that's our time for the day, man. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here, man. Anything else you want to touch on before we break?
No, listen. Everybody, please subscribe. Tap in. Listen, the more the merrier. And if you object, it's all right.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, baby. Make sure you hit that notifications bell, man. Let us know in the comments what you want to see us cover next, man. And we will be going live with a watch party for Point Game Official during the NFL draft. It's not just going to only be a Falcons bird bath or a bird bath ATL thing. It's going to be a Point Game Official watch party. So definitely tap in. Let us know what you guys are thinking. And let us know what you think about that top 10 list that we got for the NFL wide receivers right now. That's our question of the day. Who do you see is your top 10 receivers currently in the NFL? I'm out for Point Game Official. And the boy Steve Hightower, man. Deuces.
Deuces.
That was a good